Hey friends, it's so good to be with you again. You know, I'm sitting here in my favorite chair with that little mug of mint tea, the one I always steep just a bit too long because I like it strong. And I'm thinking about how funny life can be. We spend so many years planning, worrying, building, losing, and then one day we wake up and think, that's it. The romantic part of life is over. The kids are grown, the house is quiet. Maybe we've said goodbye to someone we loved deeply. And we tell ourselves the story is finished. But then, quietly, almost shyly, something new begins. And it usually happens in the last place we'd ever think to look. Today, I really want to talk about exactly that. How love so often finds us in the most unexpected corners of everyday life after retirement. Not in dramatic movie scenes or expensive dating sites, but in ordinary moments. A shared bench in the park, a conversation while waiting at the vet, a kind word at the community garden, a smile across the table at the senior center craft group. I've watched it happen again and again, and every time it reminds me, the heart doesn't retire. It just waits for the right moment. Let me start with my friend Edna. I think I told you about her once, but her story is worth hearing again because it's so ordinary and beautiful at the same time. Edna was 67 when her husband of 38 years left her for a woman half her age. It crushed her. She moved away from the city to a tiny seaside town, bought a modest cottage with a view of the water, and adopted a big, goofy golden retriever named Max. Every single morning, rain or shine, she and Max walked the same beach trail. Same path, same pace, same shells crunching under her shoes. She told me, I wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted to breathe. And then, about a year into this routine, she noticed another regular walker, Richard, 69, retired history teacher, widower of 5 years. He had a calm black lab named Lady. At first, they just nodded politely as they passed. Then the nods turned into, good morning. Then one day, Richard stopped and said, Lady always wags her tail extra hard when she sees Max. And honestly, I think I do too. Edna said she felt her cheeks get warm, like a teenager. They started walking together, slowly, no pressure, just side by side, talking about the tide, about their grandchildren, about how the knees complain more after a storm. A few months later, they were sharing coffee on her porch. Now they walk hand in hand every morning. Edna says, I thought love had to be loud and fast when you're young. Turns out it can be slow and steady, and that feels even better. And it's not just dog walks. Remember the book club stories? There's one I haven't told you yet that still makes me tear up a little. Lillian, 71, joined the club not because she loved reading. She joined because the silence at home was too loud. Her husband had passed 3 years earlier from a long illness. The kids lived across the country. Old friends had drifted. So she came to the library every Tuesday, sat in the back row, sipped weak tea, and listened. She barely spoke. Then one day, a new gentleman arrived, George, 74, retired landscaper with the kindest eyes. He brought a small cardboard box of rose cuttings and said shyly, I thought maybe someone here might want to try growing them. Without even thinking, Lillian raised her hand. I'd like one, please. He handed it to her with both hands, like it was something precious. They started exchanging little updates by text. The first bud appeared. Mine is climbing the trellis. Then he invited her over to see his garden. She was nervous, hadn't been to a man's house in years, but she went. They spent the afternoon pruning roses, laughing about how thorns always get you when you least expect it. A few months later, they were planting a new bed together, side by side on their knees in the dirt. Lillian told me, "I thought after 70 the only thing left to grow was loneliness. Turns out I was wrong."
You know what keeps surprising me?
How often love hides in places we already go every day. We think we have to go looking for it, sign up for classes, download apps, force ourselves to be social. But so many beautiful stories start right where we already are. Like Frank and Ellen from the Gentle Yoga group at the community center. Frank, 68, joined after a mild stroke. He was embarrassed about his slower movements, his shaky balance. Ellen, 65, came after losing her husband to cancer. They never spoke at first, just placed their mats next to each other week after week. They breathed in the same rhythm. After months of silent practice, one day Ellen turned to him after Shavasana and said quietly, "You have the most peaceful breathing, Frank. It calms the whole room." He didn't know what to say, just blushed and mumbled thank you. The next week, he brought her a little bottle of lavender oil for relaxation. A month later, they were having tea after class, then long walks, then holding hands during the final relaxation pose. Frank told me recently, "I thought after the stroke my life would be small. Instead, it got bigger because someone saw me, really saw me." There are so many more stories like this. I could talk for hours. Like the woman who reconnected with her high school sweetheart at a 50-year reunion. They hadn't spoken since graduation, but one slow dance changed everything. Or the man who met his partner while volunteering at the food bank. They bonded over sorting cans of soup, and now sort their lives together. Or the lady who started chatting with a kind stranger at the dog park. They discovered they both loved old jazz records, and now they listen to them on Sunday afternoons with coffee and cinnamon rolls.
What I want you to hear today is this.
Sex 2.0. You don't have to search far. Love after retirement isn't about grand gestures or perfect timing. It's about showing up to the places you already love with an open heart and no expectations. It's about smiling at the person next to you in line, asking how their day is going, offering to share your umbrella when it starts raining, listening when someone talks about their roses or their grandchildren or their sore back. Those small moments are where the magic hides.
I know it can feel scary.
After 60, we've been hurt. We've lost people. We've learned how fragile everything is. But that's exactly why the love that comes now is so precious, because we know its value. We don't waste time on games. We don't pretend. We show up as we are, a little slower, a little wiser, a little more tender. And when someone meets us there, it feels like coming home.
So let me ask you something.
When was the last time you let yourself be surprised? When did you last walk into a room or down a familiar path or sit on a bench and just allow something new to happen? Have you ever had one of those quiet moments where someone's smile or kind word made your heart skip, even just a little? Write it down in the comments, even one sentence. I smiled at someone at the grocery store and they smiled back. Or, I talked to a stranger about my dog and we ended up walking together. I read every single one, and they remind me why I keep showing up here week after week. If this little talk warmed your heart even a tiny bit, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe so we can keep meeting like this. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next story. I'm so grateful you're here with me.
Take care of your beautiful hearts. They still have so much love left to give. Until next time, I'll be waiting with tea and an open ear.